All right, the watch list for Thursday, July 13th. Starting off with my equity curve. Again, I have to kind of zoom in, but we got a nice green dot today. A few highlights right here, actually a few screenshots of some of my profits today. Had several, like I call these like kind of medium, low to medium profit trades, but when you have 4 or 5 of them, they added up for a very nice day. And I went, 87% today on 23 total trades. It was a pretty good day. The SPY gapped up. Now, the SPY's strong. It's up near all-time highs. But when you go to the intraday, you had the gap, and it pretty much ran out of the gate and then really chopped sideways for the next 5 hours or so. So it wasn't a great trading day, but we did a good job rooting out some pretty good opportunities, and hopefully we'll do that again tomorrow. Here's my list for what I'm going to be watching on Thursday. So SENS. Nice volume spike and kind of broke out above these recent highs. I think just maybe a possible continuation day there. RPRX, I said I like this over this kind of 160, 60 cent area. Nice volume today, and it did kind of close right there. Maybe it does break into that gap tomorrow. I didn't take any trades in it today. OPTT, former runner, but not so much lately. I have to zoom way in to kind of show you that it had a little bit of a volume spike and is trying to break out of this long range it's in. So, you could certainly argue it's got great support below. Maybe this one gets going tomorrow. I'm not in love with it. It was only 1 million shares today, but still that's a nice boost from what it usually does. I couldn't find any news on it, so, be advised that I don't think it popped on news. Abercrombie and Fitch, ANF, overdone to the downside. I'm just looking for a bounce. Let me look at the monthly real quick here, because I kind of think this is close to all-time lows. All-time lows are 631. It's in the 8s right now. And, there's no support. You can't go back to 1999 and think, oh, there's some support there. This means nothing. The only reason I'm doing this is just to see if it's all-time lows. Pretty interesting, though, that it gapped down, sold off, and, and shorts are winning 3 days in a row now. It might be time to look for a bounce tomorrow. TEUM. Quiet inside day today after a big volume day yesterday, so maybe a third day play there. FAST. You saw that was one of my winners today. I think I made 500 and something on it. Several people in the chat room put this one on our radar today as it was selling, right? So you had this huge daily candle after a gap up. You look at the daily chart, you don't see any candles this kind of range, right? And after a gap up, I said to everyone, I said, if this gets below 42, I think we get a nice bounce in that area below there. And I think, it goes back up through 42. Anything that goes that far on an intraday basis, take out crystal clear, pretty strong support at an area. I love it when it gets down there because I start looking for bounces. Having said that, man, it didn't make it easy. It didn't make it easy at all. It never gave any kind of clear V bottom, right? It chopped around, and like this 5-minute candle here had, an 80-cent range. So, there's nothing about it that made it easy. It came back up through 42, back down below 41.50, chopped around for a good couple hours before finally meandering out back above 42 and then finally climbing. So, this was the area that I wanted to get long, but like I said, it didn't make it easy. Kind of wish I'd have just been nibbling around the half and taking it small and then, closing out at the end of the day or whatever. But, it already had a bounce, but if it's not going to go back below 42, the next logical move might be up again. So anyway, it goes on bounce watch, but I'm not in love with it. I was in love with it today, and like I said, it wasn't easy to trade. Snap, not to compare it to Abercrombie and Fitch as far as companies go, but Snap is at all-time lows, and you got a couple red days. I want to watch that for a potential, just a snapback bounce, just like ANF. VNCE. You had this big volume pop, like a 2-day pop, and now you're down 2 days on much lower volume. I think it probably touched 20-day. It's one of those that's, below a dollar. I don't trade that often, but it's a pretty clean setup. I like this for a possible bounce tomorrow. APHB. I'll have to zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little better. So you have this island down here, and then you had this big volume spike here the other day to $1.20, and you're kind of flagging since then, right? Yesterday had a high of $1.09, so I said in last night's video I liked it over $1.09. Well, it gapped down a little bit, but ended up closing strong, closing pretty close to the highs. So I like it over today's high, over 102. So I'm going to say, well, obviously that's 103. that is one area that I'll be looking that might get it going. In other words, if it takes today's high out, 103, you look to the left, it might get through 109 and then maybe test that 120 and maybe squeeze. So it's a handsome setup with this big spike and a flag and a close to high of day. So I'm going to write down some catalysts. 103, obviously. 110 would be the next catalyst. You hear me talk about stacked catalysts all the time. And if it can get above 110, the next thing in its sights might be 121. And if it gets to 121, you're up maybe into this gap and a rip. So it's a pretty good setup. Keep your eyes on APHB. Fred, just a narrow range today. I like V bottoms, so when you get a big sell-off and you're looking for a snapback bounce, had a decent trade in it on this green day and haven't gone back to it since, but I've been watching it. Now it's kind of in just a sideways chop, so I like it a lot less than something like an ANF as far as a snapback bounce, but I'm going to watch Fred because I definitely think it's overdone. And then lastly, I have CERU, another one that had a big pop, and it's kind of meandered down to the 8-day moving average, put in a little green hammer candle today, potential long in that one tomorrow. We should find some decent pre-market gappers to trade as well. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see everybody on Thursday.